Okie dokie. What is going on, guys? Raid Designs here, and I am here with a tutorial for you guys. It's going to be on something really cool today. It's not too in depth. I didn't want to do something that you guys wouldn't enjoy, and so this is something that I thought really helps make your banners or any design that you're going to be using, some sort of stock or creative picture work or anything, just that much better. So these are just the little things that you can do to photos that are going to make your designs better and the photography just look a lot better. For instance, of course, I'm going to be using just a stock picture of just somebody, and I'm going to be using a background. So I'm going to show you guys two different things and two different ways to do certain things. So first thing is if you're working with just a figure or some sort of thing that you're basing your design around, primarily this has to do with figures or photography in some way, of like a picture of somebody. There are a lot of things that I do. The first thing that I always do is I want to adjust the exposures and the contrast of the pictures. So relatively, when I do have a background, I have a light gray right now, usually it starts off with some sort of black. Now if you look how much contrast is coming off of his arms and certain things like that, and just how almost it just looks flat. And one of the things that's really off-turning and off-putting when people make backgrounds or Twitter headers or Facebook or any profile pictures or something like that with their face or their own brand, is that a lot of people like to leave flat color to them and just kind of leave it like it is. Now that would be okay if it's just one picture, because the lighting and everything is set up for that. But if you're going to be going into an actual design, there's a lot of things you're going to need to do. So the first thing you're going to need to do is, if you are cutting out, I suggest you start blurring some of the things or some of the edges. It's a habit that I go into. As you can see, a lot of these edges are they're hard edges, and you don't like. That's not very realistic. So you can take a nice blurred brush and kind of just play with some of the edges and give it just a nice realistic smooth feel and smooth transition. Keep your strength a little bit, or around 30%. I just use the what's this? The magic wand tool. God, I haven't used that in forever. That's why. Anyways, so yeah, after you kind of have filled out certain things like that, we're gonna go into just quick basic lighting. So you're gonna want to create a new layer over your object that you're using. Whoa, that is not the brush we want. And you're going to take a nice soft big brush, very simple, and you're going to want to make it a little bit smaller than this. I mean, you don't need it that big, but yeah. And so it looks like the lighting is pretty straight on here, so we're pretty free to do whatever. We're going to have the lighting come from the left to right. So as you guys can see, you can just either overlay it or you can keep it normal, and you can just kind of move the percentage. So we'll do about 10%, and then we're going to below that make this again, and I will oop, why is that opacity down? Huh, weird. Okay, and we're just going to do the same thing over here, but instead we're going to inverse it, turn it black, and we're going to go to about 15. Now of course right away it's going to kind of look a little cheesy, just because it's not 100% affected and full yet. So before you guys merge layers, just keep it like this. The next thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to go into your adjustment layers, and you're going to want to go to where is it? Brightness and contrast. Wow, went right over it. And anyways, we're going to go to brightness. You guys can play with this. Sometimes I like to put it at around 1 or 2. You don't want to screw it too much. And contrast. Now if I pull the contrast all the way up, you can start to see the shadows and the darkness and everything start to pull in. The key thing is you're going to want to look for a medium to where your contrast is where you're not losing detail in the dark areas and not losing detail in the light areas. So around 40 is where I'm starting to enjoy what I'm seeing, and you can keep that as a clipping mask as well. And I'm gonna go blur out a few things that I saw I didn't really like. Anyways, you know, don't do the magic wand like I did, you know, get a better cutout. I just did this real quick, so I'll show you. But yeah, so after that, that is basically what I do for regular photos. A lot of people tend to go to and, you know, merge these layers. So as you can see, kind of gives it that better look than the other one. Anyways, a lot of people tend to just kind of keep everything the same and not really adjust certain things, and it can work, but it can also work against you. Now, one of the things that people do all the time is they like to add like certain filter effects to it. The only effect I like to do is I like to use Topaz Adjust 5. It's fantastic and it's a cool plugin to use, so if you have it, this is something that I do a lot. Now, you can go through these different presets that I have to say, definitely some of them are a little bit crazier than others. little, you know, I mean, you can get into some like dark charcoal stuff, and this is where you're really just stylizing certain things. So I use psychedelic and I edit it. So you're gonna keep your everything right here, your adaptive exposure the same, and you're gonna go to details, and you're gonna want to pull it down to around 80 is usually what I find. It's pretty good for high quality images. Your threshold, keep everything the same. Your color, now here's kind of where this is completely up to you. Your saturation boost, if you pull it all the way up, you can see that it you know, kind of gets all the different pixels that, you know, Photoshop or whatever program you're using is finding, and kind of buffs the color. So you can kind of play with that. I usually kind of just, I don't like it too crazy. So yeah, noise, this is completely up to you, and that's about it. And then I kind of just hit OK. And what it does is it adds that meanness to the photo that you need, that pop out aspect of the photo. Now, of course, here's with it, and here's without it. So kind of just toggling back and forth. And of course, the second one, of course, is going to look a little bit more high contrasted, and you're going to start to get details in dark areas, which is exactly what you want. That is the goal, is to keep that type of design. So as for that, we're pretty much good with that. And this is kind of where I just go back in and touch up some blurred areas, like, you know, kind of go into details of, like, you know, if you want to keep his focal point as his face, you can blur some of the, you know, things that kind of get in your way when you're looking at certain things, and it usually pops out pretty good. Anyways, so now we're going to go into using backing stocks and background images for banners, etc. As you can see, we have, you know, just the fire break from Call of Duty Black Ops 3, and we're just going to use a pretty easy one. I'm going to duplicate this just so I can keep the original colors, and I'm just going to move that behind. So the first thing I'm going to do is go into, or we're going to add some curves to it. Usually I just like to bring down and kind of really darken the darks and brighten the brights a little bit, and that just kind of adds a little bit more pop out feature to it, and we can just merge that down. Secondly is basically we're going to add, we're going to go into, where is it? Threshold. Now, these are some cool ideas you can use to where you can black and white certain things. It's pretty simple. I mean, you can do something like that and then kind of play around with that. Or another big thing that I like to use is I like to use photo filters, because it adds a warmness to it or a coolness to it depending upon what you want. And these are just things that are going to touch up. Cooling filter seems to look really, really cool on this. That one in particular. Let's see with this one. And you can use any color you want. There's millions. I mean, underwater is usually one that's really weird, but you know, and you can screw with the density, of course. So that one is something I'm going to go with. Now, this is where everything comes into how do I get the effects that I get. So what I do is the same thing. Topaz Adjust Files. I'm not even going to open it up. I already know that my filter is doing it already because I want to keep the exact same thing, and I'm going to show you the difference. So here is here's without all the effects I've added, and here's with. And what it does is it just heightens everything, and especially when you're going into a design, you want to make sure that the background image is not too pronounced and not too out there in your face, but you do want to have a lot of detail to it. So we're gonna just keep this one because I do like it, and we're gonna just go Command Alt U, and we're just gonna go to saturation, pull it all the way down. Now that's one way you could do this. With this picture, you can actually do a lot of things. You can go into the channels and just unclick all of those and just keep one solid color. These are just different types of things, but I tend to usually do this. Now, after you do the black and white, a lot of people are like, oh yeah, then you're done. No, you have to readjust your brightness and contrast, because when you're turning something into black and white or grayscale, the colors are still there. It's just you have to mess with values. So usually I pull the contrast around 29, 30, and the brightness I pull down a little bit because white tends to blotch out and just kind of flat things out. After that, I usually just hit overlay. Now you can't see anything right now, but this is where my funness comes in, and I guess so we'll use orange just because that is the fire breakers, and we're just gonna create a new layer under it and click in two areas and pull it down to about 25, maybe 50. And I don't even really like orange. We're gonna try a different color, boys and girls. We'll try a nice green, and we'll do something like this. And then if you just kind of pull it down to about 40, you get a really nice scaled green or something like that, and you can play with it. I'll add like a hue saturation scale above it, and you can play with it. Certain colors are going to look cooler than others. Purple tends to look very, very cool, and you can play with all these types of things. But that is how you set up photos for your backing. It's very crucial, and it's something that everybody needs to learn. If you haven't realized this and this helps you, thank you so much. You're welcome. But thank you so much for watching it, because it's going to make your designs so much better this way. That's how I get very high quality images, and that's how I do my work. So if you enjoyed this, please leave a like. It would be amazing for me and for my channel. I'm trying to get to the 100K point, guys. It's finals weeks and everything like that right now, so this will be an upload, and I'm going to try to keep pumping them out. So thank you guys so much. It's been Rated. Deuces.